my Z followers, and welcome back to the question where you have the questions and I have the answers. And as you can tell, my selfie stick is broken, so I'm sorry if the video is shakier than usual. I'm holding it with my hand now. Anyway, sad to say, we are not getting into a funny, less serious question, as I've had a long line of very serious questions, and this one is a bit more personal because of everything that's been happening in my life right now. And today's question is, why do we keep walking the dysfunctional path? And first of all, there's multiple ways to interpret that question. And I guess to me, the dysfunctional path is just doing things over and over and over again, like never changing even though you should. Like staying in an abusive relationship, or just like accepting the same sort of monotonous cycle, whether it makes you happy or not. And I guess the biggest reason why we do that is because it's safe. Even though it's not safe, it doesn't make us happy, and it may even get us hurt, especially if it's like a physically abusive relationship or self-harming or anything like that. It's safe because we know what's going to happen. You know, it's for whatever reason, our brains, despite how amazingly powerful they are very unimaginative, and we can't imagine anything outside of what we're already experiencing. So, say if you are in an abusive relationship, mentally, physically, emotionally, psychologically, whatever, it hurts and you hate it and you want to leave, but at the same time, you can't. Because even though this hurts you and you hate it, you can't leave. Because you know what's going to happen after. This is like a hurt that you've gotten used to. You know the aftermath, you know what's going to happen, you know how bad it's going to get. But you don't know what happens if you try to speak up, if you try to call the police, if you try to get out, if you try to stand up for yourself. Because that opens up the window of possibilities. You don't know what's going to happen. It could be good, or it could be bad. And that's ultimately why we keep walking that dysfunctional path. Because despite how awful and terrible everything is, you don't know what's going to happen if you try to change what you usually do. And I say personal because I recently got out of an emotionally abusive relationship. And the person I broke up with isn't a bad person, as you've seen him on the videos. He's a great person. We just weren't growing together anymore. And I thought that if I just kept doing the same song and dance over and over and over again, that maybe something would change. That me staying would eventually make everything better. But all it was just digging me deeper and deeper and deeper into that hole of helplessness. And I got out, and it's not easy. I'm not saying that changing your circumstances is going to be all like rainbows and cupcakes. No, it's very hard. But it's also freeing. And I guess the biggest lesson is with the dysfunctional path is you have to be honest with yourself. And you have to sort of weigh the pros and cons and really take time for yourself. It's like this person I've known for years upon years upon years, who I love, or this thing that I do, or something like that. Something that I've gotten so used to doing, something that's been there for me when I'm down. Something that knows me better than anybody else who knows me. Something that's reliable, something that I can depend upon is going to happen in this crazy world where you can't control anything. This one thing that you can depend on. Is it really helping you? Or are you there only because you can depend on it? That's the question you have to ask yourself. why do we keep walking that dysfunctional path? Because it's the one thing in this world that we know is going to happen. And whether it's good or bad, we want that consistency. Trust me, all humans want that consistency. That's why we can't accept any random phenomena. Whenever we have to have a conspiracy theory about why it was planned, we cannot accept anything that's outside of our own control. We want to control everything, which is why democracy is really just a theory, because we can't just trust everybody else to make their own decisions. We have to micromanage everything. And it's okay. You're perfectly okay being human. Walking the dysfunctional path is something everybody does, because everybody wants to feel like they are in control of some aspect of their life, that they know what's going to happen. They want to feel like they can control what's going to happen in their lives, and I'm telling you that you can, and staying in this awful situation is not the way to do it. Just because you know what's going to happen doesn't mean you like it, doesn't mean what's going to happen is good. And you shouldn't sacrifice your happiness and your sanity and your mental health or physical health or any kind of health just because you have that, you feel that in like stability. That stability, not instability. I was going to say in control, stability, whatever. And I mean, I do feel like walking that dysfunctional path is useful, because once you get out, if you can get out, then you have learned. You know what it's like, you know what you have to do. The downside to getting out is you do shake up everything, because it's not just you who is walking that cycle. Every person who's involved in that cycle is walking it. You know? I mean, like when I broke up with my boyfriend, it wasn't just me who was affected, he's affected because now I'm not there for him. All of our friends were affected because they'd all gotten to depend on both of us being together to hang out. And it's a really big shift, because you have to realize that it's not just you. You're not just in your own little like world. You have everybody, and countless people are affected by the things you do every single day. So if you like, instead of going right every day, you went left, so many things would change. You know, everybody who was affected by you going right, suddenly you're not there. And they have to work around you not being there. Everybody who is used to you not being there when you go left now have to adapt to you going left. And once again, everything is good and everything is bad, because that's just how life is. There's a good and bad side to everything. And you have to accept that just because something's bad doesn't mean it's the end of the world. Because it's good doesn't mean it's going to stay good forever. Things are rarely in a yes or no, or good or bad stance. It's usually like a mixture of both. Like there's a linear spectrum between good and bad. And the reason I think that we walk so many dysfunctional paths and why we stay in these awful places for so long is because as a society we've trained to see things as only good or bad. That we have a exact definition of what's going to happen, an exact example. Like doing drugs. You know, they tell you, oh, it's bad, that some shady guy is going to try and get you hooked on drugs, that drugs are bad. But then they don't prepare you for when your friends smoke marijuana. And, like, not casually, like, they don't ask you, they just do it. And you're just, like, in your mind, it's like, but drugs are bad, but my friends aren't bad. And you don't know what to do. No one prepares you for the fluidity of real life. And that's honestly, I think, the worst thing about public education and just society in general, is that we don't prepare people for the real world, despite how often we say, oh, you're going to have to do this in the real world, you have to get a job to do this. We don't prepare you for relationships. We don't prepare you for mental health, for the hard choices in life. We say, oh, if this is happening, that's abusive. But we don't prepare you for emotionally abusive, or mentally abusive, or psychologically abusive. We don't, like, prepare you for mental health, and that's so awful. Just the worst, because that's honestly what we're going to come up with more than physical abuse, even though I'm not saying that physical abuse doesn't happen. Of course it happens. And we've normalized that too. We've normalized all of this hatred and control, and it sucks. And so people will yell at you to get out of these situations, but they don't really understand how hard it is to get out. And it's not like they can just tell you and make you change what you do. You have to realize it yourself. You have to see from an outside perspective what it's doing to you. Like, until my friend went and actually made me say and hear myself say all of the stuff I was going through with my ex, I would never have even thought about it. I never would have realized that until he was like, do you hear what you're saying? And I was like, yes. You have to realize it yourself. No one can do it for you. Same thing with depression and anxiety and any eating disorder. You have to realize it yourself. People can give you all of the help, all of the resources, but you have to take it. And it's like that with anything, not just mental health. It's like that with school. It's like that with anything. You have to take responsibility for yourself. And I'd love to say and read you that story that every single adult professional, anyone tells you that there are resources, there are ways for you to get help. But those ways don't matter if you don't take the time to go and take it. If you don't take the help that's given to you, then it's as useless as a coat in a rainstorm. Like a hoodie in a rainstorm, you know? There's no point if you're not going to take that help yourself. So, for everyone who is walking a dysfunctional path now, I urge you to try and think of it from a third person perspective and get out. I urge you to take any help that's offered to you. And for people who have gotten out, I'm so proud of you, and it may not seem like you made the right decision now, but 10 years from now, I bet you you'll never even remember that you had to make this decision. I love and care about all of you, and if you have any questions, comment below, either related to this topic or other topics. If this is your first time viewing my channel, please hit the icon to subscribe. I think I'm going to put the icon over there this time. Watch me not. I don't know. I'm going to put the icon. And if you do enjoy my videos, send them to other people. If you feel like this video should be shared to someone who needs it, please send it to them. I want to help. I want to seem like I am helping. I don't know if I'm helping. And I love you guys. See you all next time I make a video. I don't know when it is. I'm so busy. I love all of you, my Z followers. So long and thanks for all the fish.